The Bloodline is about to lose one of its most beloved members, and nobody saw this coming. GUSO, the man who gave us some of the most emotional moments in recent WWE history, the superstar who finally broke free from Roman Reigns' tyranny, might be turning his back on everything we've cheered for. And folks, if you thought his journey couldn't get any more heartbreaking, you haven't been paying attention to what's been happening behind the scenes. What I'm about to reveal will shake you to your core, because the signs have been there all along, and we've been too blind to see them. Before I dive into this bombshell, I need you to do something for me. If you've been following GUSO's journey, if you felt every ounce of his pain, his struggle, and his redemption, then hit that like button right now. We're a community here at Ring Rumble, and we need to stick together through these shocking times. Subscribe if you haven't already, because trust me, you're going to want to be here when this story explodes. And drop a comment telling me if you think G is really about to turn heel or if there's something even bigger at play here. Your thoughts matter, and I read every single comment. Let me paint you a picture of what's been unfolding. GUSO stood in that ring 3 weeks ago, and something was off. His eyes told a story that his mouth wasn't ready to tell. The intensity, the fire that made him main event GUSO, seemed dimmed. He looked around at the crowd chanting his name, and instead of feeding off that energy like he always does, he looked conflicted. That's the word. Conflicted. Like a man standing at a crossroads, knowing that the path he's about to choose will change everything. Now, sources close to the situation, and I'm talking about people who've been in those locker rooms, who've heard the conversations happening when cameras aren't rolling, they're telling me that G has been having serious discussions about his future. And these aren't just casual water cooler talks. We're talking about heated debates, emotional confrontations, and yes, discussions about potentially walking away from WWE altogether. Can you imagine? GUSO, one half of the greatest tag team in WWE history, the man who main event WrestleMania, just walking away? But here's where it gets even more intense. The heel turn rumors aren't just smoke and mirrors. There's legitimate fire here, and it's been burning for months. Think about it. Really think about it. G broke away from Roman Reigns, right? He finally found his voice, his independence. He became the hero we all wanted him to be. But what has that gotten him? Has he main event pay-per-views as a solo star? Has he been given the world championship opportunities that his talent deserves? Or has he been floating in the mid-card, getting decent reactions but never quite reaching that mountaintop he climbed when he was part of the Bloodline? That's the poison that's been seeping into G's mind. That's the doubt that's been growing with every passing week. And you know what the most devastating part is? He's not entirely wrong. WWE has a history of this. They build someone up, give them their moment, and then, nothing. They move on to the next storyline, the next superstar, and the person who gave them everything gets left behind. G sees this. He feels this. And it's eating him alive. I've been told that backstage, G has been noticeably different. The guy who used to be the life of the party, who kept morale high, who was always there for the younger talent with advice and encouragement, has become withdrawn. He shows up, he does his work, and he leaves. That's not the GUSO we know. That's not the man who wore his heart on his sleeve and made us believe in the power of family, even when that family was toxic. And here's something that's going to blow your mind. Remember that segment 2 months ago where G was supposed to cut a promo about his future? It got scrapped at the last minute. Completely rewritten. Why? Because what G wanted to say was too real, too raw, too close to the truth about his frustrations with WWE. The company panicked. They rewrote it to something safer, something that fit their narrative better. But G? He hasn't forgotten what he wanted to say. That unspoken promo is still inside him, festering, waiting to explode. Now let's talk about the heel turn specifically, because this isn't just speculation anymore. Multiple reliable sources have confirmed that creative has been floating ideas for a GUSO heel turn, and not just any heel turn. We're talking about something nuclear. Something that would rival his betrayal of his own brother Jimmy. Imagine G aligning with someone unexpected. Imagine him turning on Cody Rhodes after everything they've been through. Imagine him looking into the camera and telling the WWE universe that their cheers meant nothing, that their support was worthless, and that the only thing that matters in WWE is power. That's the kind of heel turn we're potentially looking at. Not a subtle shift, not a gradual change, but an explosive, devastating transformation that would break hearts across the entire WWE fan base. And here's the kicker. G knows it would work. He knows he has the ability to make people feel emotions that few wrestlers can tap into. He made us cry when he was under Roman's thumb. He made us cheer when he finally stood up for himself. Now imagine the heat, the genuine hatred he could generate if he turned everything around and became the villain. But there's another layer to this that nobody's talking about. The exit rumors aren't just about G being unhappy with his booking. There are contract negotiations happening right now, and they are not going smoothly. G's current deal is coming up for renewal, and sources tell me that the numbers WWE is offering aren't matching what G believes he's worth. And honestly, can you blame him? This is a guy who's given his body, his soul, his family drama for WWE's entertainment. He's made them millions. He's been part of one of the longest-running and most successful storylines in modern wrestling history. Other companies are watching this situation very closely. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but let's just say that if GUSO became available, there would be a bidding war. The wrestling world has changed. Wrestlers have options now. They have leverage. And G knows this. He's watching his peers make moves, secure their futures, and get the respect they deserve elsewhere. That's tempting. That's the siren song calling to him in his moments of doubt. There's also the family dynamic that we can't ignore. Jimmy USO is watching all of this unfold. Their relationship has been tested more than any brother relationship should be tested. They've fought, they've reunited, they've torn each other apart and built each other back up. But what happens if G turns heel? What happens to the Usos as a legacy? What happens to everything they built together? Jimmy is reportedly torn up about this whole situation. He wants his brother to be happy, to be successful, but he also knows that some decisions can't be undone. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. And Roman Reigns? Oh, this is where it gets really interesting. Because if G turns heel and rejoins the bloodline, it validates everything Roman said. It proves that G can't survive without Roman, that he's nothing without the bloodline, that all his fighting for independence was just a phase, a childish rebellion that was always destined to fail. That would be the ultimate psychological victory for Roman. He wouldn't even have to say, "I told you so." His presence would say it all. The tribal chief would be right once again. But what if it's not the bloodline that G joins? What if his heel turn takes him in a completely different direction? What if he forms his own faction, declares war on everyone, and becomes the very thing he fought against? That might be even more compelling. GUSO is a calculating, ruthless, power-hungry villain who's decided that being loved gets you nowhere, but being feared gets you everything. Can you picture it? Because I can, and it's both terrifying and brilliant. The timing of all this couldn't be worse for WWE. They're heading into their biggest season of the year. WrestleMania's season is approaching. They need their top stars locked in, committed, and ready to deliver. The last thing they need is one of their most over babyfaces either turning heel at the wrong time or, even worse, walking out the door. But that's exactly the situation they've created through their booking decisions. They put G in this position. They made him a sympathetic figure, gave him his big moment, and then, crickets. No follow-through. No sustained push. No championship around his waist. Just more mid-card feuds that go nowhere. I want to take a moment here to talk directly to you, the fans watching this. If you're feeling angry right now, if you're feeling like WWE is disrespecting GUSO, I hear you. I feel it too. That's why it's so important that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're going to follow this story together. We're going to track every development, every hint, every cryptic social media post. You're not alone in caring about what happens to G. There are thousands, maybe millions of us who want to see him get the respect he deserves. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's make sure WWE knows we're paying attention. The social media activity from G has been subtle but telling. He's been posting throwback photos from his indie days, from before WWE, from when he and Jimmy were just two kids with a dream. That's not nostalgia. That's a man remembering who he was before the machine got its hands on him. He's also been liking and retweeting posts from wrestlers outside WWE, wrestlers who found success and happiness elsewhere. These aren't accidents. These are breadcrumbs leading us to an inevitable conclusion. There was a moment last week that nobody caught except the most eagle-eyed fans. G was doing a backstage interview, and when asked about his future in WWE, his smile didn't reach his eyes. He gave all the right corporate answers, said all the things he was supposed to say, but his body language told a different story. His shoulders were tense. His jaw was clenched. He looked like a man going through the motions, fulfilling obligations while his mind was somewhere else entirely. That's not the G we know. That's a man who's already checked out mentally, even if his body is still there. The locker room is divided on this issue. Some wrestlers understand G's frustrations and support whatever decision he makes. They've been in his shoes. They know what it's like to be hot, to be over with the crowd, and then watch as creative has nothing for you. But others think he should be patient, that his time will come if he just waits it out. They point to wrestlers like Cody Rhodes who waited, who persevered, and eventually got their moment. But here's the thing, G isn't Cody. He doesn't have the same leverage, the same creative control, the same ability to dictate his own storylines. Wrestling is a young man's game, and G knows his window is limited. He's not 25 anymore. He's in his prime right now, today, and every day that passes without meaningful storylines, without championship gold, without being positioned as a main event talent, is a day wasted. That's what's driving these considerations. That's what's pushing him toward a decision that could change his life and the landscape of WWE forever. The heel turn, if it happens, won't be a light switch moment. It'll be built on months of frustration that we're seeing play out in real time. Every time G steps through that curtain and sees someone else in the main event spot that could have been his, the seed of resentment grows. Every time he's asked to put over a younger talent while he's still in his prime, the anger builds. And when that dam finally breaks, when GUSO snaps and turns on everyone who's held him back, it's going to be glorious and heartbreaking all at once. WWE is at a crossroads with GUSO, and they might not even realize how close they are to losing him forever. They need to make a decision. Either go all in on G as a top-tier talent, give him meaningful storylines and championship opportunities, or risk watching him walk away and become someone else's main eventer. Because make no mistake, that's exactly what would happen. GUSO would be a world champion within 6 months of leaving WWE if he signed elsewhere. That's not speculation. That's a guarantee. So here we are, watching this tragedy unfold in slow motion. GUSO, one of the most talented performers in the industry, one of the most genuine and charismatic superstars on the roster, is considering either becoming a villain or walking away entirely. And the saddest part? We saw this coming. We knew WWE was dropping the ball. We've been screaming about it for months. But nobody listened, and now we're facing the very real possibility of losing main event GUSO forever, either to the dark side or to another promotion entirely. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video so more people understand what's at stake. And stay subscribed to Ring Rumble, because when this story breaks wide open, you're going to want to be right here with us, watching it all unfold together. The Bloodline saga continues, but this chapter might be the most devastating one yet.